Can humans actually stop a desert? For decades, northern China faced a problem that seemed almost impossible to control. Across vast areas of dry land, strong winds continuously pushed loose sand across the landscape. Slowly, the desert was advancing. Farmland near the desert edge became increasingly vulnerable as shifting sand covered productive soil. Some communities found themselves living directly on the front line of this expanding landscape, and hundreds of kilometers away, the effects could still be felt. Powerful winds occasionally lifted enormous quantities of desert dust high into the atmosphere. That dust traveled toward major cities, including Beijing. At their worst, these storms could cover the capital beneath an enormous orange cloud. But the dust storms were only a warning. The real threat was the gradual degradation of land across northern China. If the process continued, increasingly large areas could become difficult to farm or inhabit. China needed a solution capable of operating across an enormous landscape. So in 1978, the country launched the Three-North Shelterbelt Forest Program. It would later become widely known as China's Great Green Wall. The idea was to restore vulnerable land and create enormous belts of vegetation across northern China. But before any large-scale forest could survive, engineers faced a much more basic problem. The ground itself was moving, and before they could grow anything, they first had to stop the sand. A sand dune may appear solid, but under strong wind, its surface is constantly changing. Individual grains are lifted from the ground and carried forward. Over time, billions of these tiny movements cause the entire dune to migrate. That creates a serious problem for vegetation. Plant a young tree directly into active sand, and the surrounding ground may simply move away from it, so workers needed a way to stabilize the surface first. Their solution was remarkably simple: straw. Bundles of wheat and rice straw were pushed into the sand in a repeating grid. Each small section formed part of an enormous checkerboard, stretching across the dunes. The straw didn't need to completely block the wind. It only needed to slow the air moving directly above the ground. Across an exposed dune, wind can travel quickly along the smooth surface, but the checkerboard makes that surface rough. As the wind encounters thousands of exposed pieces of straw, it loses speed close to the ground, and when the wind slows, it becomes less capable of lifting the sand. The grains begin staying where they are. Slowly, the moving surface becomes more stable. That single change creates an opportunity. A stabilized surface gives vegetation a better chance of establishing itself. The roots of those plants then help hold the soil together. What begins as a simple grid of straw gradually becomes a foundation for something much larger. This was the crucial breakthrough. China wasn't trying to overpower the desert with giant walls. It was changing the physics happening just centimeters above the ground. And once the sand became stable enough, planting could begin. The next stage was far larger. Across vulnerable regions of northern China, enormous restoration efforts began. But planting trees in a dry environment is very different from planting them in normal soil. Water is scarce, the ground can be extremely dry, and strong winds constantly remove moisture from exposed surfaces. So the plants had to match the environment. Restoration projects used drought-resistant trees, shrubs, and grasses capable of surviving under harsh conditions. Their purpose was not simply to create a forest. The vegetation itself became part of the engineering system. Roots helped hold loose soil together beneath the surface. Above ground, vegetation created additional resistance against the wind. This made the landscape progressively more stable. The process was gradual. First came the straw barriers. Then vegetation began taking hold. As the plants became established, their root systems strengthened the soil. Over time, previously unstable areas became increasingly resistant to erosion. Technology later helped extend these restoration efforts across larger and more difficult areas. Aircraft could distribute seeds across remote terrain. Specialized machinery could prepare land and support planting on a much greater scale. But regardless of how the vegetation arrived, the principle remained the same. Stabilize the land first, then give plants the opportunity to survive. One of the most striking examples of this transformation appeared in the Mu'us Desert region. For generations, shifting sand had threatened communities and productive land there. Decades of restoration dramatically changed large areas of the landscape. From space, the transformation became visible. Areas once dominated by exposed sand increasingly showed extensive vegetation cover. Land that had been extremely difficult to use became more stable. In some restored areas, agriculture also became possible again. China had not made its natural deserts disappear. It had demonstrated something more realistic, and perhaps more important. Degraded land could be restored, and soon, a similar idea began taking shape on another continent. Along the southern edge of the Sahara lies the Sahel. This enormous semi-arid region stretches across Africa. For millions of people living here, healthy soil is essential for survival. But in many areas, land degradation has made farming increasingly difficult. In 2007, African nations launched an enormous restoration effort known as the Great Green Wall Initiative. Its vision extends roughly 8,000 kilometers across the African continent. But Africa isn't simply copying China's approach. The conditions are different, so the solutions must be different as well. In some areas of the Sahel, the greatest challenge is keeping scarce rainfall in the soil. Farmers, therefore, create carefully shaped depressions in the hardened ground. When rain finally arrives, these structures capture the water. Instead of immediately running across the dry surface, the moisture remains concentrated around the plants. This gives native vegetation a better chance of surviving. Over time, those plants can help stabilize and restore the surrounding soil. This is why Africa's Great Green Wall is not simply a giant line of trees. It is a much broader effort to restore degraded landscapes. And that restoration can directly affect the people living there. Healthier soil can support agriculture, restored vegetation can support livestock, and productive land can give communities a stronger reason to remain where they already live. The project still faces enormous challenges, but its basic principle is remarkably similar to what happened in China. Don't simply fight the desert. Create conditions where the land can begin recovering itself. Yet this raises an important question. If humans can restore dry landscapes, why don't we simply turn every desert on Earth green? Because deserts themselves are not the enemy. A natural desert is a functioning ecosystem. It has existed for thousands or even millions of years. Plants and animals have evolved specifically to survive there, and deserts can influence environments far beyond their own borders. The Sahara provides an extraordinary example. Strong winds regularly lift enormous quantities of mineral-rich dust from its surface. Some of that dust travels thousands of kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean. Eventually, part of it reaches South America. Those minerals contribute nutrients to ecosystems, including the Amazon basin. So completely transforming a natural desert could create consequences somewhere else on the planet. That is why there is an important difference between a desert and desertification. The goal isn't to cover every natural desert with trees. The goal is to prevent productive land from becoming severely degraded. And China's experience shows how surprisingly small interventions can sometimes begin that process. A piece of straw changes the movement of the wind. The slower wind reduces the movement of sand. Stable ground gives vegetation an opportunity to establish itself, and those roots make the ground even stronger. Today, satellites can monitor these landscapes from space. Drones and modern machinery can support restoration across enormous areas. But the underlying principle remains remarkably simple. Work with the landscape instead of trying to overpower it. China's Great Green Wall and Africa's Great Green Wall Initiative are both enormous experiments in doing exactly that. Neither has solved desertification completely, and both still face major challenges. But they have demonstrated something that once seemed impossible. Humans don't necessarily need to defeat a desert. Sometimes, they only need to stop it from moving forward. Because the greatest achievement isn't turning every desert into a forest. It's preventing fertile land from becoming desert in the first place.